Let's see. Is there anything else? I think there was one more video that I had to hit before I close this out. Um, yes, there was. There was. In fact, there might be two. So, there was the fight for one of the committee seats that AOC was running against Jerry Connolly with. I think I might have said that a little bit wrong grammatically, but we'll just go with it. And in that committee fight, AOC lost. AOC lost that fight. And you got Jen Psaki effectively saying, well, they made somewhat of a mistake here. I mean, we actually lost a presidential election. Maybe we need to do something different. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you need to do something different. They decided they didn't need to do anything different. And so they're going to keep this boat a rocket. I want you to hear the reason, though, that Connolly, a man with cancer, in his 70s, was selected over AOC. Listen to what he says as his rationale for being the best choice for this position. Again, an old man riddled with cancer. And I'm not saying that a person who is ill or something like that shouldn't be able to get a various position. I do believe that they should be able to get positions. If you can do the job, you should be able to get the position. I don't necessarily care about the health in normal circumstances, meaning in normal companies and the way that the company operates. If the person can do the job, let the person do the job. And based on our own laws in this country, if you need to make accommodations for a person to be able to do that job, fair enough. By the same token, you're not going to have a blind person driving a car. And you're putting somebody in office after Joe Biden, who, decrepit as he was, evaporated before our very eyes in that position as president, where they hid how bad he actually was for 4 years. Meaning they knew from the very beginning that Joe Biden was not in his right mind. He was decaying before our very eyes. The American public saw it, and the American public was aghast by it. They lied to us over and over and over again about Joe Biden's capability of doing that job. And then they lost to another 70-something-year-old. Okay, fair enough. So are you going to do something different now that you are in a new world with Donald Trump as president of the United States? Or are you going to keep doing the same thing? We've had people literally die on the Supreme Court bench. What is her name? The woman, Feinstein, died in office for all intents and purposes. The woman could barely stand up and yet was still making votes. In fact, she had a power of attorney in charge and was still in Congress. I hope you get my point. This is the Democratic Party. Great example of the Democratic Party. Nancy Pelosi is what, like 81 years old, mama bear? Yes, she's still kicking and everything else, but I'm making the point that this party seems to miss the point. Listen to what he says, because he's making the argument that it's my turn. I haven't had a committee seat before. It's my turn. And I can do the job, and I can do the job well. Dude, it's not about your turn. It really is about who's the most effective to do that job. And this is the same guy that pointed out, oh, these people are bloviating and making speeches. That is part of your job. That is part of your job. And the level of vigor that you can add to that role is important. And by the way, this is not me rah-rahing the Democrats. They're not going to get my vote one way or the other. It's just trying to make a point. We should have seen with Joe Biden in that office that these political positions require a certain amount of energy, dynamism, flexibility, and an ability to communicate with a larger part of the public and to do so in a way that is effective. And whatever you want to think about AOC, she is, young. She does social media outreach in a way that Connolly, I can't believe a 71-year-old would ever be able to match or to even equal. AOC has kissed the ass of every Democrat and has become a good little soldier. And even then, they still don't trust her. And instead, they put this guy into the position. Listen to what he said. It's my turn. It is my turn.
The decision about leadership ought to always be based on a proven record, skill set, competence, capability, and your plan for moving forward. I've never had my chance to be a ranking member or chairman of a full committee. This is it. And I've got the bona fides and the credentials over 16 years that my colleagues looked at, examined, validated, and decided that's what we need. We need the best general we can put on the battleground with 4 more years perspective.
And you really think that's you? With your body riddled with cancer, with you in your 70s, you really think that the best person for this is you? And again, this is not me cancer shaming. I'm just pointing out that positions require an energy that I don't think that a 71-year-old full of cancer can match. And I think the first part is the part that's even worse because he said, I've never had this seat before. It's about seniority. It's not about, they didn't choose him because they thought he was the best. They chose him because of seniority. And I would add in probably he is part of what the Democratic Party is. He is part of a trusted aspect of the Democratic Party in a way that AOC is not. And so that is the guy that we're going to put into that position. Again, I think you're missing the boat. And, if you're looking for a party to change after losing on a massive effing level, it doesn't seem like they got the memo or the message at all. And, Simone Sanders, again, I nearly fell out the chair when she made that argument about we need a workers' movement. Get the F out of here. But, even in that, it's kind of in a sandbox. It's echo chamber stuff that's just coming out of nowhere because they're trying to figure out how to message as opposed to actually change in real earnest terms. It's one thing to say that we've gotten our messaging wrong. We've gotten our the way we talk to people wrong. That's one thing. It's another thing to change. Changing is different. Connolly is an example of status quo is normal. Status quo is normal. I don't get the sense that they believe that they actually need to change all that much. I get the sense that they think that this is purely a messaging issue and that the reason that the public dislikes them so and distrusts them so to the point of putting in a blue-collar billionaire is that they just messaged wrong. We need to go on Joe Rogan more. We need to talk to the media more. We need to do more of the way we talk to people. It's not that. It's your brand. And the American public is correct in their appraisal of that brand as being somewhat problematic. You already have a Republican Party in this country. You don't need to. You don't need to. And to make this point even clearer, this. So Democrats actually got to the point of saying, the problem is we need to coordinate our super PACs. We need to coordinate our super PACs. That the Republican Party did a great job in organizing their super PACs in a way for maximal effort and maximum damage. And we ourselves also, as Democrats, need to come together and do something similar with our super PACs in order to give us a better chance to win. This is so deeply ridiculous because it misses the point. And what I mean by misses the point, if you are running as a left-wing, ostensibly left-wing political party, and as a left-wing party, you're supposed to be this kind of release valve to the capitalistic system. Okay, fair enough. Accept the premise. How do you do that? Now, all things being equal, a release valve in this sense is medical bills are too high. Yeah, in this sense, medical bills are too high. College is too high. Dental should be included with Medicare. It's not. And you go down the list of ills. We need an increase in minimum wage. Basically, how do we make life for the citizenry easier, simpler, to help them self-actualize? How do we make the best American that we can possibly make from the standpoint of education, healthcare, education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? How do we make those things available and affordable to the masses of the American public? The rich is going to have those things. They don't necessarily need the money for that stuff. Everybody else does. How do we do that as a political party that is the lifeblood of what it's supposed to mean to be a Democrat, at the very least, that was set by FDR back during that era? All right. So how do you do that if you're taking massive amounts of money? Meaning, if you're going to raise $1.5 billion from super rich, where you have all these billionaires, billionaire row, do they really care about those things since they already have those things? And if you're going to do that as a political party, especially as a political party on the left, how can you ever get anything real done? I hope you get my point. How do you really take $1.5 billion and then turn around and say, by the way, now we need to increase taxes. We need to put a tax on, I don't know, something in order to get some kind of revenue. We need to try to pay down the budget also while we're doing this. Meaning, how do you do all of that knowing full well that you're only really going to get the money from where the money is stationed? How do you do that? Will the rich give you $1.5 billion to do that? And is that part of the reason that Kamala Harris went running around with Liz Cheney, believing that money would ultimately be the final say, one way or the other? Now, Kamala Harris might have thought that because if she was running in Congress, 90% of those races are won by the side with the most cash. The presidency is not Congress. The amount of publicity that you're going to get just by being in the race, if you're a Democrat or Republican, is going to be worth several $1,000,000 in and of itself. And if you're Donald Trump, all eyes on Trump. It's the way it worked. It's the way it came out. Donald Trump made a hell of a lot less, like 3 times less than Kamala Harris, and still won that race. Kamala Harris ended up in debt, despite the fact that she got $1.5 billion and spent $1.5 billion in 3 months. They've come to the conclusion, you know what the issue is? We need to get our super PACs to better spend money and more organized in the way that they spend money. That's the thought, that's the assessment that Psaki and her guest has come to.
I'll ask you about something that David Plouffe said on Pod Save America, someone you and I both know. He said, quote, "We have to stop playing a different game as it relates to super PACs than Republicans. They coordinate more than we do. I'm just sick and tired of it." And he was talking about kind of legal advisors saying to the DNC and others, you can't coordinate at all with super PACs while Republicans are doing that. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of merit to that observation. And that's what I've heard as well, talking to people, both lawyers and also people within the DNC. We need to make greater use of the flexibilities, not to do things illegally, but we need to be making greater use of the flexibilities in the law, especially for moving money around, spending dollars appropriately.
So wait. You accept that there's not supposed to be coordination between the super PAC and the candidate, right? Money is speech, providing that you're not coordinating. By the way, they still coordinate whether you're Democrat or Republican. When a person comes out and says, yeah, I think we're going in this direction, it doesn't take much for the super PAC to watch it on television to see that a campaign is going in a certain direction and go in a direction with a candidate. That's not all that difficult in the world. That is coordination, whether they are talking or not. I'm not even sure that anybody could prove that a particular candidate is talking or not talking to a political super PAC. So there's also that. It seems that their assessment is we need to go into the gray area more. That's what we need to do as Democrats. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Your solution to failing miserably with 8 million people just say, screw it, is the issue is that we need to, be more in the gray area of legalities around the whole notion of super PACs. That's what we need to do as Democrats, because we are the most moral of the parties. And because we're the most moral of the parties, we don't do the stuff that Republicans do in regards to super PACs. And so maybe we need to start. That's your conclusion. That's your conclusion. To be semi-illegal in your operations with super PACs. You lost 8 million voters. You lost a lot of blacks, meaning especially black men. I think Trump got like 25%. You lost Hispanics. I think Trump got like nearly, 47, 48%. If I'm not mistaken, you even lost white women. And the youth vote, many of which stayed home. You lost the Arab vote. And your thought process, the best idea that you can come up with to reconcile this is we need to do illegal stuff or quasi illegal stuff with super PACs. That's our ticket. That's what we need to do. That's a great idea. Why didn't we think of that before? So there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the party. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with the message. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with the way people view you and see you in the bubble to which you currently and obviously exist. Kamala Harris ran a flawless campaign. Even Queen Latifah was there, and Queen Latifah doesn't give votes to anybody or doesn't get accolades to anybody. So obviously, if Queen Latifah backed it, according to Joanne Reed, it was clearly spotless. So no, we're blameless. We're flawless. All things being equal. Those Hispanic men were just racist and bigoted and sexist. Those black men were sexist. Those youth vote were mad about genocide and they don't know their history. Nope. We're the most moral and we're great and people like us. Again, I think you're coming to the wrong conclusions. There's something fundamentally wrong with your party. And the fact that you even have that conversation with yourself, as opposed to having a genuine and actual autopsy, even gets across to me more that that problem is more deeply ingrained than even I thought it was prior. It is a party that is impotent, that is missing a penis, that just doesn't work for anybody. You can't get anything done. And not just get anything done, you can't even win. Just saying. I mean, just outrageous that this is the conclusions that they've come up with after losing millions of people who decided to just not show up because they were that disgusted with the political space. You had a candidate running around the country with Liz effing Cheney. Let's put that in perspective. And you see nothing wrong with the party that is purely reactive and reflexive to whatever the Republican Party is doing. If Donald Trump likes dogs, then the Democratic Party prefers cats. If Donald Trump likes ding-dongs, then the Democratic Party likes ho-hos. Meaning, is there any real core? Is there any real standard to what it means to be a Democrat? And I go back to what I said before. When they ask the question, what does the Democratic Party stand for? I have zero answer for it, especially not a real answer for it that will be appeasing to the ears of Democrats. I understand they have this great sense of themselves when they look in the mirror. Other people are not seeing that. You're in a bubble. I'm going to end this. I'm going to say like it, share it, subscribe to it. I want to thank all of you for joining me today and honestly over the course of this year. And I want you guys to have a fantastic new year, fantastic year. I will be here with you for as long as the powers of this body allows me to be here with you, doing the news, covering the news. And I hope you stay with me. I want to thank all of my new members, by the way. I think I have about 24 at this point. Thomas family is growing. I put a poll, by the way, as a post. Give me your take. I'm very curious of what the audience thinks. I am looking for ways to raise extra revenue. I will do t-shirts and stuff like that. I just haven't necessarily found a picture that I liked. I've added a few shirts, but I don't love them. I may have to get a designer to do work on it. But that to the side for the moment. That's something that normal channels or other channels do. Chess lessons. That was the other thing. And the other thing was chess games. So if you're a member and you want to do chess, send me an email and we'll get a blitz game in. I think one of the things I put on the membership thing was blitz during chess nights, where I would offer game to members. What I'm also thinking about, though, is people who are non-members who wants to get games in, do like a $3, $2, I'm not wed to the cost or to the amount, blitz game to be shown on blitz nights, where you basically effectively challenge the champ with $2 or $3 super chats or stickers, I suppose, to equal to a game. That's my thought. I'll put a poll in to get your take and to get the audience take on that. I'm uncertain. And when I'm uncertain, I might as well just ask the audience. You guys are there. Might as well get your point of view. I'm going to end this. I want to thank all of you for joining me. This is the last show of the year. I think episode 68. I appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic and phenomenal morning. And I will see you guys, may even see you tonight. I'm thinking about doing a nighttime bringing in the New Year show. I'll see how I feel. But you guys have a fantastic day. And thank you all. Jamal Thomas Morning Show, the last one for the year. Signing off. Have a good one all.